Hello everyone, it is that time of year again. It is time for me to do my yearly year-in review at the end of the year. How many times can I say year in the same sentence? Well, it's a yearly thing, so let's just try to do this at the same time every year. I'm sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, so yeah, I do this pretty much once a year. As I said, I do this at the end of the year. I just kind of go through a recap of my YouTube channel over the course of the year and kind of things looking forward. I've been doing this for 3-4 years now. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So yeah, this year was interesting. Year 2 of the global COVID-19 pandemic. Year 2 officially started in March, and looks like we're going to be here for at least another year, maybe. Who knows? So fun. So fun, he said sarcastically. But I mean, it's obviously awful, and I kind of touched on this last year, if I remember correctly. But I've managed to get a lot of stuff done thanks to this pandemic, where it's forcing everyone to kind of stay home more than a lot of people would like. Personally, I don't have a problem with staying home, so just the fact that it gave me an excuse, I was perfectly happy with. So I got to get a lot of stuff done. This year, though, last year I definitely got a lot of stuff done, more than I probably would have otherwise. This year, very, very much the same, but slightly to a lesser extent. But which I'll get into here in a second. But the big thing that I got done this year that I probably wouldn't have otherwise is the Dark Island Trilogy, Ninjago stop motion series, mini series that I did, which was awesome. I'm really glad that I got to work on that, because I'd been wanting to do a Ninjago stop motion for a long time, but I hadn't really been able to crack the story. What story would be worth telling, and then I remembered, oh yeah, Dark Island Trilogy is a thing, and then there was a conversation last year about, well, man, in the community, man, it's so expensive to get these novels, and to get these graphic novels, and it's a canon story to the show and everything. It's important, it's too bad that it's not very accessible, so I kind of took it upon myself to make it more accessible. And so then Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 were up in July, August, and September of this year, and I think they turned out rather well. I'm really proud of the way Dark Island turned out. Of course, I did a lot of the production on it last year, but that moved into this year as well. Filmed it last year, got a lot of the editing done on Part 1 last year, but then there was a big hiatus, so I had to take a pause on it because my voice actors were busy, and that's fair. So I had to wait for my voice actors to get back to me. And when they finally did, then all 3 parts were were finally released this year. And I think they turned out rather well. So that's definitely something that I would not have been able to get done without the pandemic having been going on. Because I was like, well, I've got extra time to work on stuff, and here's a good idea, so let's jump in and do it. Where if I had been forced to go out into the world and do other things, I don't know if that would have happened. So there's one small silver lining out of all this madness that we've unfortunately been going through. So I know that a lot of you guys watch me for my Ninjago content. I'm sorry that it was kind of more sparse this year. That was because I was working on Dark Island a lot of the time. It's like I released a couple standalone Ninjago videos that didn't have anything to do with Dark Island. Reviews for both the Island and Seabound were pretty popular. Got some good views. And I think you guys enjoyed my points on those and hearing me talk about that. But, in like years past where I've released like a ton of standalone Ninjago videos, video essay videos for Ninjago, I didn't do a lot of those this year, but that was because I was working on Dark Island. It's like I can only work on so much Ninjago stuff. It's like I have other interests, so it's like Dark Island took up most of my kind of Ninjago bandwidth for this year. I did some other stuff here on the side whenever they became applicable. Like Valentine's Day, I did that relationship video, and I think I'll do part 2. At this point, I'll just do part 2 for that when we get to Valentine's Day 2022. And then, of course, those reviews and top 10 spooky episodes for Halloween time. I watched too much Disney Channel as a kid. That was just like an automatic response to say Halloween Town. So yeah, next year, hopefully, there'll be more standalone videos like that, which I'll maybe get into in a minute. But yeah, so that came out. Other stop motion stuff I did. Moving on to Transformers. So yeah, this is kind of the thing I'm getting into, is where I was very productive this year, but not as productive as last year or as productive as I would like to be. and I've touched on this already, but I'll touch on it again, is so the most recent episode of Transformers Knights of Cybertron, which premiered in the year 2020, came out in May. It came out in May, I'm pretty sure. And that was episode 5, Shakes and Sunsets, which is, I know it sounds like a weird title for a Transformers something, but when you watch the episode, it makes sense, because that's both stuff that has to do with the episode. But, so that's the latest episode to come out, and that was months ago. So I'm so sorry about that. I have no one to blame but myself on this, really. Because the reason there's not been another episode is, like, as I've said before, I've had the season 1 episodes filmed for over a year. It's been almost 2.5 years now, really, and I think the episodes kind of show it as well. It's like, because I've progressed, every time I work on a project, I progress. So now that when those episodes are coming out in late last year, early this year for the first 5 episodes of season 1 that actually managed to get out, I was looking at them like, ooh, this animation's already dated. But I'm not going to go and just refilm them, because that would just be a waste of time. So it's like, well, I might as well just release them and do my best to spruce it up in editing. So yeah, I've had all that stuff done on the back end for ages, but some of my voice actors, they're just so busy. It takes them so long to get me stuff that I can't release an episode without my voice actors getting their stuff to me, and I don't want to replace them because they signed on. They say they could do it, and I really like their performances, so I am content on waiting. But it just takes them so long that that's why there's been this big hiatus, and I'm so sorry about that, because ultimately that's on me, because I could choose to replace them with people that would get their stuff done quicker, but I don't want to do that. And then also, I should have waited to, like, maybe even potentially announce the show when I had more stuff done, but I got too excited and I released. Well, I mean, another reason I announced it so early too is that I wanted to have there be I wanted there to be something for when I was doing casting for potential voice actors to look at some early footage from that, raw footage from the episodes before they were edited completely, to look at and go, ooh, this is something I want to be a part of. So that's why it was announced super, super early. But I could have just gone quiet. I could have gone quiet for a year and a half and waited for everyone to get their stuff in and had the entire first season done, and then released it in like 10 weeks, or maybe even every 2 to 3 weeks or something like that, and then release a 10 episode season over the course of 5 months or something like that. I don't know. I could have done that, but instead I kind of jumped the gun, and I also wanted to get this. I said that the show would come out in 2020, and I wanted to stick to that, so that's why the first 2 episodes were out in 2020, and then it took a couple more months to get episodes 3, 4, 5 done, and then I released them when they were done, and then since then there's been nothing, and I'm really very sorry about that. And yeah, it's at this point it's going to continue to be like that. Again, it's my fault. I have no one else to blame but me, because I could have done in this big, like I said, I could have waited until the whole thing was done, but I jumped the gun, and it's like, I would be irritated behind the scenes, because it's like, I have 8 episodes done, ready to go, but I'm still waiting on voice actors to get me the last 2. Why did I decide that it would be annoying for me behind the scenes, as you can imagine, but you guys would not have any clue. And it's like, maybe you had seen the announced trailer and go, hey, are we ever going to see some of this? And I could go, yes, I'm working on it. And eventually it would all be out. But now instead, you've gotten a taste of what I have to offer with the first 5 episodes, which episodes 3, 4, and 5, I think are just kind of okay in both their presentation and the stories. But the back half of season 1, episodes 6 through 10, I think are really, really strong stuff writing-wise for me and for what I'm trying to do with this story, the kind of Transformers story I want to tell. And I haven't been able to release it. And you guys have been forced to wait, and I'm so sorry about that. I cannot stress enough how sorry I am. And the wait's going to have to continue on. So, it's going to have to continue on for a multitude of reasons, and I'll get into that here in a bit. So, yeah. Knights of Cybertron still on hiatus, unfortunately. I'm so sorry. Again, my fault. Blame me. Don't blame the voice actors for being slow, because they're volunteers. They do the best they can, and I am very gracious for that, especially the performances they're giving, because the performances they're giving are really good. And so yeah, it's my fault for just kind of being a bad director on that aspect of it's kind of like if Sony dangled the Spider-Man No Way Home teaser in front of everyone for a year before the movie came out, and then they delayed it. And it's like, oh, sorry, COVID, we're going to delay it until March of 2022. But you had that teaser from a year. It's like, and now a couple movies have done that. Like Black Widow did that, but that was like more. They had a better reason to do that. Where if they'd done that with Spider-Man, with the way production anyway, I think you guys understand what I'm saying. So yeah, but we did, but as a consolation, as I've done a whole video on this, but as a consolation for Knights of Cybertron being delayed and continuing to be delayed, of course, I'm starting kind of this new thing, which is studio shorts. The first of which has been out for like 2 months or something like that, which is Barricade is Late, and holy cow, guys. Thank you so much for the response to Barricade is Late. I cannot believe how well that has been received. And I don't know how the heck it has been received the way it has. Because as of the time of this recording, it's got something like 8,000 views, which is crazy. I was not expecting that when I uploaded. I thought it'd maybe get 200, 300, somewhere on par with Knights of Cybertron episodes. But I was not expecting it to get into crazy numbers territory like that. I am just flabbergasted, and I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying it. And definitely expect more studio shorts going forward. I have another one done and in the can. That'll be up in early January, like probably next week or something like that. Just to give you guys a little preview of what's to come. So yeah, I mean, if Knights of Cybertron hadn't been delayed, we wouldn't have gotten studio shorts, and you guys seem to like the first studio shorts. So yeah, so if you guys want more studio shorts, then don't worry, more is on the way. The more will be made in a more timely manner because I'm the only person working on it. I don't have to worry about waiting on voice actors or anything like that. So it's 100% of the production is all down on me, and so you will get more of those in a more timely manner, and hopefully that will make the wait for more episodes of Knights of Cybertron worth it. And then also at the same time, for more dramatic stuff because I just don't know when these voice actors are going to, because everyone has a life, everyone has stuff that they have to work on while I am waiting. I'm also going to work on a War for Cybertron story that I've had written for a while now. However, this is going to, I'll just go ahead and get into this stuff now, because that's a pretty good segue. It ties in. You may have noticed that the last month or so on my channel has been kind of sparse, not with the typical amount of content that you'd come to expect from me. And there's a very good reason for that. Now, in the past, whenever that's happened, I have made channel update videos and said, all right, I'm going dark for like a month because I'm working on stuff. Like in 2020, I did that when I was filming Dark Island. This year, I did it because I was working on like 3 different video essay videos at the same time, which was not smart of me, and also doing working on Barricade is Late. So I was just a lot of intensive editing. That meant I couldn't get stuff out weekly, so I had to take like a month off, so that way there was stuff to release, and I could actually get stuff done. So whenever that stuff has happened in the past, I've made sure to tell you guys. Stuff still came out in December, but not at the regular rate that you guys are really used to. And you might say, well, what about the recut of the Dark Island story into the shorter episode lengths? It's like, yeah, those came out weekly, so you had your weekly content, but that wasn't really new, was it? It was a re-edit of something you had already gotten as kind of an editing experiment on my part, and I made a whole video explaining that. So the reason that things were a little sparse the last month or so on my channel, and you didn't really get too much new content, and like one of the reasons that my review for Battlefield 2042 was not the typical video essay format, and I just kind of talked like this, is because I've kind of had a big life update. So I have a big boy job now, as in an actual paying job where I have to put on real pants and go to a real place with real people and do real work, and I get paid every couple weeks. So yeah, that's kind of a big deal. It's a big change because prior to now, I have never had a big boy job before. The only other job really that I had was as a student worker while I was at college, and it's just been a little bit of a getting used to period of acclimating to that schedule. And because I'm having to acclimate to that schedule, I have to actually go work a real job, which means that I have less time to work on YouTube stuff now. Now, before anyone panics, because I know you've probably seen smaller YouTubers do this thing before where it's like, well, I've got a real job now and I don't have time to work on YouTube, so see you guys later. I'm not doing that. I promise you, I am not doing that, because that's one of the things that I made the promise to myself years and years and years and years ago, where some of the YouTubers I enjoyed suddenly up and disappeared one day. And I said to myself, I will never do that. I will never just up and disappear. One day, probably, yes, I will eventually quit YouTube. But when that happens, I'm going to make sure that there is at least an explanation of why. This is not that explanation, by the way. So, and you probably, and even then, like I said, you've probably seen some smaller YouTubers you may like say this from time to time. It's like, well, life stuff is happening. I don't have time to work on YouTube stuff anymore, so this is it. Goodbye. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm doing here today. But what I am doing here today is saying that while I am going to continue YouTube, you're not going to get the typical output you've grown to get used to over the last couple years, where I had 2 videos out weekly. As of right now, for the time being, I think the safe thing to say is that expect 1 edited video a week. What I mean by that is a stop motion, a video essay, a funny gaming moments type video. That's what I mean by an edited video, something that actually takes time and effort to make conscious editing choices in, besides just tweaking the audio, putting a single picture or a couple images in, and kind of just doing it like these video updates or my reviews over something like that, or even toy reviews. Toy reviews count as well in that, kind of, because I have to make conscious editing choices in that as well. So in the past, I've had 2. At times, I've had 2 videos like that going live a week, depending on the week. Sometimes the way things work out, it's like, all right, here's a Mandalorian review and a funny video game moment. So even then, at that point, you do get only one edited video a week, and then the other is just a Rambo review. And so sometimes that's just the way it's turned out. But then the week after that, then you do get your 2 or maybe even 3, depending on how much content I had coming out of my ears at the time. 3 edited videos. So it's like, well, maybe there's a video review that I thought needed to go up in terms of a toy review, but then there was also a Warzone event. So also I had a Warzone video go up at the exact same time. So that week I actually had 3 videos going up, and that's just the way it happened that week. So stuff like that's not really going to happen anymore. What you can kind of expect going forward now is, for the time being, over the next couple months, because it's actually kind of good timing on this, is that Fridays will be what I call Fett Fridays, where you will get a review of the Book of Boba Fett. So that's very handy. So it's very, very handy. Thank you, Disney, for releasing the Book of Boba Fett right now when all this stuff is happening. So you will get those videos on Friday, and then Mondays you will get whatever the heck else is going to come out. So that'll be a stop motion, that will be a toy review, that will be, funny video game moments, that'll be what have you. After that, after the Book of Boba Fett is done, depending on, what, I may try to find another something or other to watch and be able to review. I don't know if there's anything coming out that's going to be of interest to me. I can't really think of anything coming out. I may be forgetting about something, but I can't really think of anything that may be coming out that'd be of interest. So after Boba Fett is done, and that's going to be February, I guess, maybe. After that, then we're going to drop down to 1 video a week, which, unfortunately, I get it. I know, not the key, not the prime example of maybe what you would want to happen on the channel, but that's going to have to be the way things are, because, now I'm spending 8 hours a day at work. I can't work on the YouTube stuff all the day. Now, I am working on getting stuff stockpiled, and that's part of what I'm talking about here today in terms of my stuff going forward. And why I'm doing the segue now with the whole Transformers War for Cybertron story thing, and also talking about Knights of Cybertron and stuff, because the last couple years, my stop motion projects, which are the thing that I've like to prioritize, and then over time I've just done this other stuff to make sure that, because let's face it, the 3,000 of you almost that there are here subscribed to this channel, 95% of you would not be here if I only did stop motions. Most of you guys are here because I do other stuff. And then and then hopefully, maybe, I would hope so, you watch the stop motion stuff as well when it comes out. But the stop motion stuff is really what I like to prioritize in terms of what I'm working on. Sometimes it always doesn't work out, and I have to work on something else just because it's quicker and easier, and that's when you get a Warzone video or something like that. But the stop motion stuff has always been my main focus on this channel, and other stuff has just kind of come out to make sure that the channel isn't dead, most weeks out of a month, or for months on end. But the problem with that is that the last couple of years, my stop motions have been getting longer and longer and longer, which is it's a good and bad thing. Because on one hand, I think it is showing that I am constantly improving on my writing skills, on my storytelling skills, and I think you can look at Bionicle Reiterated as a great example where episodes of that show started out at around 10 to 12 minutes, and then the episodes got longer and longer and longer to where they grew to be about 20 minutes in length almost, and then the thing to cap off the entire series was a movie, an hour and a half long movie. And then Knights of Cybertron, I start working on that. The first episode is 30 minutes. The second episode is 30 minutes. And then episodes 3, 4, and 5 are all around the 15 to 20 minute mark. So that's a long time. 22 minutes is your typical animated cartoon on television. Well, I guess not anymore, but that's a whole another discussion for another video about the way cartoons are going nowadays, especially on Disney Channel. Hashtag save the Owl House. But moving on from that. So I mean, that's a long time. That's a lot of content to produce, especially for animation. And it's so frustrating because I like telling stories that way because it works. And that's one of the reasons I like doing YouTube, is that my stories can go as long as they need to go. Is that I'm not beholden by advertisers or network executives that say, hey, your Big Hero 6 TV show that you guys have been working on for 2 seasons and it's been a pretty good superhero show, now it's a comedy show. Make it a comedy show and each episode is 11 minutes long. This is your final season. Have fun. So all those storylines that you had cooking, just drop them. So it's like I don't have anyone above me to tell me to do that, which is very nice. It's very liberating. It's very freeing. I don't have to worry about that. So that means if an episode needs to be 10 minutes, it can be 10 minutes. And if an episode needs to be 15 minutes, it can be 15 minutes. If an episode needs to be 37 minutes, it can be 37 minutes. I really enjoy that, the fact that I am my own boss and I can make those decisions. But that was kind of where my idea for one of the ideas for doing that re-edit of Dark Island came in, because it's like, it takes so long to make one of these. And then I get, one video out of it? So I work for months, I make one video, and then that's it. It does whatever it does, and then hopefully it does well. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And then that's it, moving on to the next one. And I don't think that form of content creation for my channel is sustainable anymore. Now, of course, sustainable, usually means, we're not making any money. I've never made any money on this YouTube channel. Technically I am monetized right now, but I make pennies. So it's one of those things where I'm going to stay monetized, and in 5 years I can go, oh, hey, look, I got my first $100 check from YouTube, because you have to make $100 before you get paid. anything. So it's like maybe in 5 or 6 years I'll make that much. But it's like that's another reason I had to get the big boy jobs. I was running out of cash. So, but now I am getting paid. So yeah, I'm making big boy money now. I can actually afford Lego sets and Transformers and other things that I can use to animate with that I don't have time to animate with because I'm working the job to get the money to buy the things. It's complicated. So anyway, so yeah, that form of content creation, I don't think is sustainable for my YouTube channel anymore. But I'm not going to stop telling stories and making stop motions. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write them as I have been writing them in the past, but now instead the episodes, so let's say for instance, and that's another thing, I don't think I'm going to do this in Knights of Cybertron. Knights of Cybertron is going to be exempt from this, and that is not how because a lot of Knights of Cybertron is pre-written. I have got most of it written already. I've got the first 2 seasons written. The first one's filmed and been edited. I've explained that already. But, so that's going to be exempt. But going forward, for instance, the War for Cybertron thing, I'm going to work on, other stop motion ideas that it's like, I have so many ideas for Marvel stop motion. You guys have no idea. Stuff like that, that's not written. That's just ideas in my head. Ideas can be changed. Scripts, harder to change. So going forward, I'm going to write everything out as normal, but I'm going to make conscious decisions while writing to go, here's a good stopping point. That will be an episode. Go write more. Okay, here's another good stopping point. That can be an episode, and then go from there and go from there. So I might write a 30-page script, and if you were to put it all together, it would be 22 minutes. It would be like, a 22-minute, show on TV. But instead, what I'll do going forward is I'm going to find a good cutoff point, like, like act structure or something like that, and go, okay, that's an 11-minute episode. That's an 11-minute episode, or maybe it's going to be a 7-minute episode, and then the next one will be 12, something like that. Somewhere where you get kind of a and that's kind of the typical 11-minute format that you get with animated shows on TV versus the 22-minute format, because that way it will be the same amount of production time and production values and all the effort and energy that goes into making my longer stop motions. But instead, when I'm now going to get out of it, I'm going to get multiple videos out of one project. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do that re-edit of Dark Island, because by chopping it up, and it was just a fun challenge in general to see if it would even be possible to do that. And I think it will, because I think it turned out rather well. And then, like I said, there were a couple shorter episodes. There was Mind Games, I think, with Zane and Cole and Jay, Nia, and Ronan and Lloyd rescuing everyone from the mines. That was just 8 minutes. That's all it was. But it still told a complete story in a season. It's like, all right, here's this little chapter in this season, and now we're moving on. Where in the original version of Dark Island, in the trilogy format, it was a couple scenes that were spread out in this 37-minute video. So I think doing that going forward will really help. It will give you guys more content. It will make production a little better on my end, because like I said, I do the same amount of work, but I'm getting multiple videos out of it now. It will take some getting used to, especially writing that way. But looking at that War for Cybertron thing that I want to work on, that will definitely, I already, just looking at the script, I can see the points where I can cut it off, and I can get like 5 episodes out of that script. So it'll be like, instead of it being like one 30 to 40 minute, special event thing, it will instead be a mini-series. And so I think going forward, maybe there will be more like, instead of it's like, all right, here's a grand epic show that I'm planning with multi-seasons and stuff like that. Maybe what it'll be going forward is it's going to be, here's different mini-series. Where here's War for Cybertron. It's 5 episodes, it tells the story I want to tell, and it's done. And instead of it being 30 minutes, it's or 40 minutes or whatever, it's 4 10-minute episodes, something like that. And if I have any other ideas for Ninjago stop motions, it'll be the same way, where I try to focus on it being shorter instead of longer. I've got all these different ideas for Lego Star Wars projects that I've been wanting to get to for years. So with the Lego Star Wars stuff, instead of them being longer, it's like, all right, take the one story, chop it into several pieces. You guys get, it's easier, just whole thing's easier to produce on my end, and I get a little bit more out of it. So yeah, that's kind of the way things are going to go moving forward. I don't think that's a huge change. I'm still going to work on stuff like video essays, because that's another thing I worked on this year that was kind of new, is I kind of officialized side tangents, where I'd kind of done these kind of offhand video essays once or twice before, and then earlier this year I kind of had this idea of these. Because where side tangents came from is that, well, I've got all these things I want to talk about, but I don't really have a good medium to talk about them in. I'm like, well, what if I do these video essays? But I'm like, what? They're just going to be random video essays that don't tie into anything? And then I had the idea, oh, well, what if the fact that they don't tie into anything is the thing that ties them together? And then I thought about these videos I do where, like, when I'm reviewing something and then I just talk about something else that's sort of kind of related for 5-10 minutes of the review, and then I get back to the main topic, and it's like, oh, that's like a little side tangent. I'm like, oh, there's an idea. So that's where side tangents has come from. I have no set schedule for those. Those just happen whenever I want them to happen, whenever I feel motivated to work on them. So if you like those, then hey, thank you for watching. The Pirates of the Caribbean 5 and Transformers 5 combo video will be out next year. But other than that, I don't really have any other promises for working on any more of those anytime soon. I still need to get acclimated to my new work schedule, and really figure out how the stop motions are going to work and stuff like that. So it will be some stuff like side tangents. A lot of future plans I had for that are going to fall to the wayside a little bit, besides the one that I've promised. But eventually I may get back to working on those a little more regularly. Same thing can kind of be said for video game reviews, unfortunately, which is kind of why the Battlefield review that I did recently was the way it was. I still want to do more of those. So I didn't do those all too often to begin with. So those are just gonna come up whenever they come up, whenever there's a time to do one. Like, let's say next year we get a surprise. Respawn just goes, hey, here's Jedi Fallen Order 2, randomly released in October, and then I get a chance to play through it. It's like, all right, hey, here's my 15-minute review video essay of Jedi Fallen Order 2. It's going to be stuff like that where it just comes up. And I don't really plan those out in advance. So I don't really think that's too much of a surprise to say I don't have a set schedule for any of that stuff. So, yeah, that's really kind of how things are going to work going forward in general. I have a lot of Battlefield footage between the review and play sessions with the people I play with and stuff. So expect more Battlefield 2042 videos in terms of funny moments. I don't have anything planned for Warzone or Rainbow Six Siege right now. I haven't played either of those games in a while. Warzone for a multitude of reasons, partly because of the things going on with Activision, partly because of Vanguard is bleh. I haven't played it except for the betas, but I've just not been impressed with anything I've seen, and I really liked Verdansk, and I just am not really too enthused with the idea of this Warzone Pacific map. I will play it eventually, but whether or not you get too much content from it, I don't know. At this point, I'm just kind of like, I'm just holding out for Modern Warfare. Please have a subtitle too. And Activision, please do better. Because, man, you've been a scummy company in the past, but man, this really takes the cake with all that stuff going on. So, and then Siege is just, that's a game that I'm almost like, I'm just going to delete this off my console. If I didn't have the terabyte drive to where I could have so much stuff on my PlayStation, I would. I would delete it. But I have a terabyte drive, so I don't know how many games on there. I do have a lot of games on there, and I still have plenty of room. So Siege isn't going away anytime soon, and because it's one of those things, I'll probably get back to it eventually. I don't know. Siege Olympics are always fun. Even if it is stupid, I don't know. I may do Siege Olympics this year, and you might get a video or two out of that. But so yeah, that's kind of it for gaming content. Like I said, more reviews of Book of Boba Fett will be coming out. If another Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Kenobi show is supposed to come out sometime this year. I'll do reviews for that. Bad Batch Season 2, that'll probably be coming out as well, so I'll do Bad Batch reviews. Anything Star Wars related, TV show-wise, that's going to be coming to Disney+, expect a review on that. Star Wars Visions is like the one exception because I watched like one or two of them. Like, okay, this is cool, not for me, and I moved on. So they were so like bite sized or whatever. I didn't feel the need to do reviews on that stuff. So yeah, but other than stuff like Visions, expect reviews for stuff like that. But once Boba Fett's done, until the next thing comes out, it's going to be down to like one video a week, which again I apologize for, but it's not totally going away. And that's another thing, is that it will be one video a week until I get a stop motion thing done. For argument's sake, let's say I work on and get the War for Cybertron thing done, and it's all ready to go in March. Then the episodes will start rolling out in March, and it'll go until it's done. So it's, again, for argument's sake, let's say it's 5 episodes, and so then it'll be 5 weeks between March and April probably. And then those weeks there will be 2 videos. So it'll be, I don't know, Battlefield Transformers, video essay Transformers, video review Transformers. It'll be something like that. However that works out. Unless, of course, I don't have another thing stockpiled. So if the only thing that's ready to go is War for Cybertron, and I don't have a Funny Moments video, or I don't have a video review, or I don't have an essay done, then it's just going to be Transformers for that week. Basically, how it's going to work is that I am going to always promise one video a week, no matter what it is, once Boba Fett's done. And then we'll see where we go from there. If the stars align and there does come a point where I've got enough stuff ready to go that I can release 2 videos a week, then you'll get 2 videos a week. But that's not always going to happen. I don't think so. So after Boba Fett's done, just start expecting one video a week. Again, I apologize for that, but I'm a big boy now. I got my big boy job and everything, so I gotta make some big boy money so I can buy my little boy toys. It's like I said, it's a cycle. I've got the job, so I can buy the toys, so I can make more stop motions and do more reviews and stuff. But because I've got the job, I don't have time to buy the toys and film the stop motions and make and play the games and do the reviews and all that stuff. So it is really kind of this vicious cycle, kind of like the Gift of the Magi almost, except I'm the only one involved. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Honestly, most of this video has been the way things are going to go moving forward. I didn't really have too much to say about this year. I kind of covered everything. I mentioned side tangents. I mentioned Ninjago. I mentioned Transformers. I mentioned the video game reviews, all that stuff. So I think it was a good year. I enjoyed this year. I know, again, second year of the pandemic sucked for a lot of you. I apologize for that. So if I did help bring you a little bit of joy, then I'm glad about that. Thank you for watching me, and thank you for finding my stuff entertaining. Hopefully the stuff that you do like from me, there will be more of coming soon. But as I've said, just expect a little bit of a cutback in the new year, and I will do my best. And we'll see where things go from here. Because I have no plans of stopping this. I've discussed this in the past, like 2 years ago when we thought that Kappa was going to be a big deal. Remember when everyone thought that was going to be a big deal like 2 years ago? And I mentioned that it's going to take a lot to get me to really actually actively stop YouTube. It's going to have to be like years from now and I have an actual family and like kids saying, "Hey, I need to eat something. I'm hungry. Just quit doing this YouTube stuff that doesn't pay and go get a real job with it so I can eat food." It's gonna have to be something like that, to where that actually actively makes me stop doing YouTube. But that is I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. So for now, even if I have to cut back to one video a week, I will still be around. I promise you that. So that will be it for me in the year 2021. Which kind of works out because the day this is being uploaded is New Year's Eve. New Year's is the next day. So, like I said, Book of Boba Fett reviews on Friday. There will be another video out on Mondays. That's not Boba Fett related. And that will be, whatever. It'll be a video review. It'll be funny moments. It'll be stop motion. Who knows what it'll be? But those videos will be out on Mondays, and then Boba Fett reviews will be out on Friday. So you can expect all of those things to come out in the next couple weeks. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching this long. Thank you for watching me in 2021. I really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll see you guys next year. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are in the description below. And I will see you guys next year. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.